It'd be difficult. Let me give you an example of that. But one of the things I didn't talk about in this discussion I was talking about was in 1994, the big program we created was the Empowerment Zone program. That was in 1994. And this program was represented the coming together of everything that we had learned in terms of public policy. It said, for example, you had to have a comprehensive plan that was created by the people. Okay? It requires you have to have community participation. Okay? It required that you have to have local government support, and there was a willingness on the part of local government to re-engineer their delivery systems, okay, in order to carry this program about. And there was a whole lot of concepts that were tied to the Empowerment Zone program. There was really a coming together of a lot of what we had learned from the work we had done. And the incentive was to give to certain communities $100 million, and to others who got $2 million, and they got a combination of tax credits, okay? And the other thing was that we were going to also try to use the bullet point of the White House to deal with what you're saying. A challenge was to, one example, for example, was what do we need to do to make the environment easier for small businesses? And every secretary was asked to go back into their agency and look at what regulations and requirements they had to either take out of existence, pass legislation to change, whatever, to make a more friendly small business environment. And there was a compendium of about 30 pages of laws and regulations and rules that had to be changed. And they could not do it. Couldn't do it because the lawyers talked about it from the standpoint of the legal precedents and talked about it from the standpoint of case law and other things of why we couldn't change these laws, okay? And so they were never able to re-engineer the environment of the regulations to make that happen. Mm-hmm. And the same thing was happening locally. And what happened in this effort, with all the great, and if you look at the legislation and looked at what we were talking about there and looked at the guidance materials we gave to communities, if they had done what they said they were going to do, we would have behaviors occurring a lot differently in a lot of places. But what happened is the day after the announcement was made by the president designating 6 major cities as empowerment zones, which includes Atlanta, Baltimore, yes, Chicago, Detroit, yes, Philadelphia, Camden, and New York City. 6 major empowerment zones, $100 million. The day after the announcement was made, every one of them went back to business as usual. Mm-hmm. All the planning groups they had put together for integrated thinking and planning and all that stuff dissipated the day that the money got there, okay? And I was a guy I was running this program for HUD. I ran the Empowerment Zone program. I went around the country and spoke at meetings and told about all the great things they could do, only to find out that it was business as usual. And I tried to get the White House to remove the designation of some of these places, because they weren't doing what they're supposed to. And the president said, "Boy, you've got to be kidding. I can't do that politically. I need Chicago for the re-election campaign, or I need, so there are some political realities that are out there we have to deal with that really compromise sometimes the ability of good people, of good thinking, and even good bureaucrats who want to do something differently, but who are strapped by the requirements of the regulation. And we have built, in the block grant program, I was always fussing with the attorney because they were, all you all are doing is simply just codifying 35 years of maintaining the same thinking that was there the first year.
That's it.
That was right thinking. I said, no, we have gone 35 years. There's got to be some change that occurred. And so when I was out running a program, what I would do, I ran HUD's programs in New York State, in Buffalo, New York for 5 years. And I did everything differently than the rules said I was supposed to in a certain degree. And I said, what I'm going to do is, this is what this community needs, and so I will fight you. I will challenge you. I will write all the paper I have to write as to why I did this. And give you an example of that. We got interested in doing incubators. A lot of universities around the state were doing incubators for small businesses as a way to build critical masses of technical assistance and cost savings to nurture small businesses. And there was really no money to do that. And so what I did was we were running a program for the state of New York for the small cities. And so we had RPI that had just been given a gift of a 6,000 acres of land. And they wanted to use it as a way to build industrial infrastructure as part of an industrial park, and they had no way to pay for it. So I funded some of the building industrial park with a UDAG grant, and I funded some of the programs they wanted to do with block grant program. And I gave grants to all these little communities to be able to run small loan programs for these businesses that we were trying to put in the incubator. Now, some of them were doing high-end stuff because the businesses that were being done were high-end businesses, that the first jobs were engineers and high-tech end people. So people say, well, how are you getting your low and moderate income done? I say, if these businesses make it, they're going to create more low-income jobs in one fell swoop than if I funded 25 of these little businesses, okay? And so I did it, and they, for 2 years, I spent 2 years of my life fighting with HUD about the fact that I was not in violation of the rules. Now, I work for them, okay? I work for them, and they still challenge. But everything I did, I tried to do is say, we're going to challenge the status quo. I know it can be done because I'm going to sit there and figure out within these regs how I can do this. Mm-hmm. And most people don't do that. Most bureaucrats are caught in the black and white, have no gray, and they're going to just do it that way because they have somebody above them who's doing the same thing. And so there is a lot of flexibility in these programs. People just don't understand and don't take advantage of it.
So there's two aspects. I'm hearing one aspect is what you did is found the flexibility and then stood up for it,
yep.
Which takes a lot of cojones. And that doesn't necessarily have to be what other folks say.
See, that happens. See, in New Orleans, I mean, this is a window of opportunity in a way to challenge the status quo and say, this is the way we want to do this. If we're really going to change and rebuild, we've got to be able to use these resources that are coming from all these different little stovepipes in this way. And challenge to do that. Now, what they're going to face is the issue around precedence. Because these are national programs that we give to all these communities, if we do it in New Orleans, then that's going to open the door for San Jose and everybody else who will want to do the same thing. My point is, maybe that's what they should be doing. Maybe they should have that flexibility. Maybe we should look at it as a precedent that we shouldn't do that. If they found a way to make this money work and have impact, boy, shouldn't that become the model to do it? As opposed to saying the regulations won't let us do it, change the regulations.
So where are the levers today? Where are the levers of challenging and building that critical mass?
I think a lot of it comes from the fact that we need to do more to not assume that because our members we elect to Congress know something that they do,
right,
and know how to legislate in a way that deals with the realities of how programs operate on the ground. And we need to get them informed. We need to spend more time with their staffs understanding how the realities of what they are administrating or creating legislation for are really working on the ground. You see what I'm saying? The other thing is that we've got to spend more time at the regulatory state. When agencies get programs that are funded through the Congress, they write the regulations. The people who write the regulations don't have a clue about what it is that happens down here. And they write regulations again. It's like you've got to have one pill that everybody takes and it has the same impact. Every community is different. So why do you create programs that don't value the differences of community? You know, but we do that. And because it's all in the legal construct that we think we've got to have one answer to everybody. And I think, so we've got a lot of it's training, a lot of education, a lot of it is having the boldness of leadership in New Orleans to set the direction and challenge the status quo. I mean, it's really ambitious, aggressive thinking, and force people to see it and embrace it and get a good congressional delegation to really go fight for it. I mean, that's the only way you're going to do it. Otherwise, you're going to be stuck in the same outcomes because you got the same stupid regulations that limit what you can do. They don't applaud innovation.